اللهم إني أسألك باسمك يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا كريم يا مقيم يا عظيم يا قدير يا عليم يا حليم يا حكيم
يا رحمن يا رحيم يا كريم يا مقيم يا عظيم يا قدير يا عليم يا حليم يا حكيم
سبحانك يا
تعاليت يا مالك أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قدوس تعاليت يا سلام أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مؤمن تعاليت يا مهيمن أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عزيز تعاليت يا جبار أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا متكبر تعاليت يا متجبر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا خالق تعاليت يا بارئ أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مصور تعاليت يا مقدر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا هادي تعاليت يا باقي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا وهاب تعاليت يا تواب أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فتاح تعاليت يا مرتاح أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سيدي تعاليت يا مولاي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قريب تعاليت يا رقيب أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مبدئ تعاليت يا معيد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حميد تعاليت يا مجيد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قديم تعاليت يا عظيم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غفور تعاليت يا شكور أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا شاهد تعاليت يا شهيد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حنان تعاليت يا منان أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا باعث تعاليت يا وارث أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا محيي تعاليت يا مميت أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا شفيق تعاليت يا رفيق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا أنيس تعاليت يا مونس أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا جليل تعاليت يا جميل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا خبير تعاليت يا بصير أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حفي تعاليت يا ملي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا معبود تعاليت يا موجود أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غفار تعاليت يا قهار أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مذكور تعاليت يا مشكور أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا جواد تعاليت يا معاذ أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا جمال تعاليت يا جلال أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سابق تعاليت يا رازق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا صادق تعاليت يا فالق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سميع تعاليت يا سريع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رفيع تعاليت يا بديع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فعال تعاليت يا متعال أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قاضي تعاليت يا راضي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قاهر تعاليت يا طاهر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عالم تعاليت يا حاكم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا دائم تعاليت يا قائم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عاصم تعاليت يا قاسم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غني تعاليت يا مغني أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا وفي تعاليت يا قوي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا كافي تعاليت يا شافي أجرنا من النار يا مجير يا مقدم سبحانك يا مقدم
سبحانك يا مقدم تعاليت يا مؤخر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا أول تعاليت يا آخر أجرنا من من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا زائر تعاليت يا باطن أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا رجاء تعاليت يا مرتجى أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا ذا المن تعاليت يا ذا الطول أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا حي تعاليت يا قيوم أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا سيد تعاليت يا سمد أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا واحد تعاليت يا أحد أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا سيد تعاليت يا سمد أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا قدير تعاليت يا كبير أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا والي تعاليت يا عالي أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا علي تعاليت يا أعلى أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا ولي تعاليت يا مولا أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا زاري تعاليت يا باري أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا خافض تعاليت يا رافع أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا مقسط تعاليت يا جامع أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا معز تعاليت يا مذل أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا حافظ تعاليت يا حفيظ أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا قادر تعاليت يا مقتدر أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا عليم تعاليت يا حليم أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا حكم تعاليت يا حكيم أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا معطي تعاليت يا مانع أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا ضار تعاليت يا نافع أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا مجيب تعاليت يا حسيب أجرنا من النار يا مجيب. سبحانك يا عادل تعاليت يا فاصل أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا لطيف تعاليت يا شريف أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا رب تعاليت يا حق أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا ماجد تعاليت يا واحد أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا عفو تعاليت يا منتقم أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا واسع تعاليت يا موسع أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا رؤوف تعاليت يا عطوف أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فرد تعاليت يا وتر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مقيت تعاليت يا محيط أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا وكيل تعاليت يا عدل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مبين تعاليت يا متين أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا بر تعاليت يا ودود أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رشيد تعاليت يا مرشد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا نور تعاليت يا منور أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا نصير تعاليت يا ناصر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا صبور تعاليت يا صابر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا محسن تعاليت يا منشي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سبحان تعاليت يا ديان أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مغيث تعاليت يا غياث أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فاتر تعاليت يا حاضر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ذا العز والجمال تباركت يا ذا الجبروت والجلال سبحانك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فاستجبنا له ونجينا من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your fasting, your prayers, and as always we're grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the ability to fast on this month. Our month of Ramadan programs will continue through the end of month of Ramadan, inshallah, every day about an hour before iftar. Please join us for recitation of Quran. There is no wrong or right when it comes to reciting Quran, whether you're a beginner or even an advanced. Please come and join our Quran recitation. And if I can have everyone's attention, please, my sisters, my brothers. Can I have your attention, please? Okay. So if you can make the time to join the Quran recitation before iftar, that would be great. Right after iftar, we will go every day our programs. We will have the Maghrib and Isha prayers as usual. Iftar will be served by Masjid every night, so please join us for all of these events. With that being said, let's remember the sponsor of tonight's iftar for the health of themselves and their families and for the soul of their marhumin. Please recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And again, I would like to recognize all those brothers and sisters, volunteers who are working tirelessly to serve everybody before iftar, during iftar, and even after iftar. Uh, as they say, it takes a village to run something. It takes a village. There's a very good team of brothers and sisters who are working very well together for our masjid to be run smoothly the way it is. So we are appreciative to all of them for the health of themselves and again for their families, everybody who volunteers from the kitchen, from our chef all the way to this back room. For everybody, please recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please see Brother Zai Amili and Brother Saeed Razak and make your monthly donations. Please make sure that you're up to date with your monthly pledges. And since we are here every night, if you can boost your monthly pledges, if you can, if it's in your ability, that would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, Ajaga Modares has started a topic of Prophet Ibrahim, a one-man nation. And tonight, Ajaga Modares will continue under the same topic with part 8 tonight, inshallah. And now I respectfully welcome Ajaga Modares to Manbar. For the health of Ajaga Modares and his family, please recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the honor of our beloved Prophet and his immaculate progeny Ahlul Bayt, especially the Imam of our time, may Allah hasten in his reappearance and help us to be among his sincere and true awaiters and followers. Recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أعداء الله أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. تشكر. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض وليكون من الموقنين صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts, our fast and prayers in this blessed month of Ramadan and give us a tawfiq of servitude and obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the remainder of our lives. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ibrahim alayhi salam, first he began his conversation with his uncle. And later on he came to his people, his tribe, and began a conversation with them. And last night we mentioned that Ibrahim alayhi salam first gave him a chance to explain their belief. We can call what are we trying to do rather than focusing on the biography of Ibrahim alayhi salam is to focus on the life of Ibrahim from the Quranic perspective, because we are using the verses of Quran. And why this is approach that I would say it's a best approach is because the verses of Quran from a Muslim perspective, they are solid, reliable, authentic part of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Everything else that is not in the Quran, it will come in the form of maybe narration or historical narratives. And there are also difference of opinion among those details. And without a doubt, to focus on reliable and authentic sources as a priority is very reasonable, it's logical. And from that, inshallah, we will be able to get a better understanding of the life of Ibrahim. And then the second step after learning about the life of Ibrahim is about how can we relate to his life. What is the relevance of this story to our lives that we live at this part of the history, at this place, at this location of the earth? Otherwise, this story will become a mere entertainment, having fun. Like people reading novels and fictional and non-fictional books, this become another one. Rather, the purpose of Quran is a dhikra, is a reminder, is to wake us up. Because the nature of man is that we go through stages of ghafla. We experience forgetfulness. We experience heedlessness, meaning that we become numb to the truth. The truth is we are travelers on this earth. We are not residents. We're meant to come here, visit, and eventually leave. Is a transition, is a transitory, temporary abode and place for us. And that's why Quran says that some people tuhibbun al-ajila. There are those that they love this life. Ajala means something that is hasteful and rush. Something that is transitory, is very fast. It goes by so fast. Talk to the people in their 50s and 60s. Ask them, is really life as slow as they think? And you look at it, oh, you live for 50 years, especially young people. When they know somebody's age, oh, you are 50, you're 60, you're 70. And I promise you, for many of them, the explanation is that life is not as slow as you think it is. It's much faster than you think. Because the distractions, our responsibilities, what we're supposed to do, when you get a job and family and taking care of the family, children, they occupy you so much, and you open and close your eyes and 10 years, 5 years, 20 years is gone. And that's how life is. So Ibrahim a.s. began a conversation with his people. And I don't want to repeat myself. First thing was, he asked them to explain themselves. What do you worship? Who are you worshiping? Give them a chance to explain themselves. And there is a lesson for us in that. The relevance of that is, sometimes we jump into conclusion. We are in the state of rush and haste ourselves. We assume things. Something happens, and without giving a chance for somebody to explain themselves, we make a judgment call. The story of Dawood alayhi salam is in the Quran, and I've mentioned it before, but I hope we think about that multiple times. Dawood alayhi salam was worshipping in his sanctuary. Was praying. And we have that suddenly Dawood was known for his ability to judge. He was a very skillful judge. And we have that two people came, approached him. I'm not going to go through the details of the story, but they are having this complaint, or let's call an issue that they wanted to Dawood alayhi salam to resolve it, to make a judgment, to make it basically give him a verdict. And they say, oh Dawood, we are brothers. One of the brothers have 99 sheeps, na'ja. We are both farmers and we have animals. He has 99 sheep and I had one. And this brother of mine with 99 sheep, he took the only sheep that I had away from me. Do justice. Be a fair judge. And before asking any question from the other party, so from the plaintiff and from the defendant, he make a judgment and he start blaming the brother who's richer and wealthier and said, why did you do it? You shouldn't have done this. You had enough sheep. I'm paraphrasing, but the idea is that he make a verdict in the favor of the wealthier or the one that at least on the surface seems the oppressor or the wrong, the one who's been in the wrong. And suddenly these two people, they show themselves that they are angels from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they came in a form of man. They said, "O Dawood, we are Rasulan. We are messengers from your Lord. And we are here to teach you this lesson. That before you're asking the other party, before giving a fair shot and chance to somebody to explain themselves, you made a verdict and you made a judgment, and that is unacceptable." And we have that Dawood alayhi salam begin to repent, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. How many of these verdicts we make, not knowing all pieces? Somebody come and they're venting about their spouse, their husband, their wife, without knowing everything. Sometimes you can just be an ear, listen to them, make them feel better because they're venting. Sometimes you take it, no, you are right. Yes, he or she is bad, without knowing every detail. Could be a family member, it could be a stranger. Seeing someone doing something that from the look of it, it seems is something wrong. Somebody in the month of Ramadan eating something. And I figured it out. Let's say, again, mashallah, I remember years ago, somebody came to me, a young man, said, "Shaykh, Hajara, what should I do?" I said, "What do you mean? What's the problem?" So I saw something. So, okay, now you're scaring me. What did you see? Said, "Oh, on social media, I noticed somebody posted something, and I saw in a mirror that somebody else it was month of Ramadan, they were eating something. From the corner, I saw it. What should I do?" I said, "You should do nothing." So, no, but that person's Ramadan is breaking his fast. So first of all, he didn't put it public. It's you and mashallah, your attention to details that expose them. Secondly, he may have an excuse. He may be sick. He may have a valid excuse and reason. You have to do nothing. Rushing to judgment and making a call is not your responsibility. So from the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, we learn this, to listen first. And once people of Ibrahim, they said that we're worshiping idols, we are devout idol worshippers, we're following the path of our ancestors and our forefathers. He made his argument. He made his law, basically proofs that why he believed in the Lord of the worlds, Rabbil Alameen. Why he reject worshipping idols, and why he believe in Almighty Lord and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, number one, my Lord is the one, khalaqani. He's the one who created me. I elaborated on that last night. It's one of the most important reasons and proofs for the existence of Allah is creation. Because a lot of theories, a lot of science discoveries are about how things are happening, but the origin story is a matter that is undiscovered. Where this all began. Okay, Big Bang. How about before Big Bang? There's a lot of unknown. As I said, we don't even know enough about the planets in our own solar system. Those people who confidently talk about science and about discoveries of man, they forget about the deficiencies of our knowledge. The knowledge gap that we have among so many things. There's a lot of gaps. So Ibrahim said, my Lord is the one who created me, فَهُوَ created me, and فَهُوَ يَهْدِينَ. Also, He's the one who guides me. He didn't abandon me. And then he continues, He's the one وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. He is the one who is providing for me what I need to survive. The food, the water, My essentials for survival is from Him. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ. He is the one that ultimate cure is from Him. وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينِ. He is the one that the life and death is in His power, in His control. And after making these arguments, this is where we ended last night. Ibrahim a.s. continues, وَالَّذِي أَطْمَعُ أَن يَغْفِرَ لِي خَطِيئَتِي يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. And my Lord is the one that I hope will forgive me for my faults in the day of retribution. The humility of Ibrahim. The words of Ibrahim come from the position of humility. We just had a conversation, a very short conversation about the infallibility, isma, meaning that we believe prophets of God, and then after that, the successor of the prophet, which are the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, we believe Ahlul Bayt are infallible, meaning that they will not commit sins, meaning that as leaders they have to set by example, they have to lead by example. And somebody who look at this ayah may assume that Ibrahim a.s. is talking as if, God forbid, he's not infallible. This is what he says. He said, my Lord is the one that I hope He will forgive me for my faults. What will we say about this? How they're ma'soom and he said, Ya Allah, forgive me. The answer to that is that the prophets of God, one of the reasons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose them and they are worthy to be a prophet is because of this absolute humility that they have before Allah. That's why Allah chose them. If you have someone that quickly power gets to their head, let's say you want somebody to run a business for you. Who do you like to have as a CEO, as a leader for your company? Someone that the moment few people said, sir, boss, they're going to lose their mind and they're going to become a tyrant and a dictator and destroy the company and make life miserable for everyone. Or somebody who's a leader who, as I said, every step of the way they're standing by the side of their workers and employees and make sure the work is done. And they look at themselves and said, I know what's going on. I'm not one of those bosses who sit up there and don't know how the actual process works. I know what's going on. I think I kind of explained the plot of Undercover Boss, right? That's what I did, I think. Did I? I think so. A prophet of God is not someone who just say, people be good, be righteous, be humble, serve Allah. He is the one that his worship, his obedience, his humility before Allah is the greatest. That's why our prophet, he stands many hours of the night in worship, not obligatory prayers, mustahab prayers. Because for a prophet of God is a different matter. For us it's okay, you go home, you sleep, you wake up before suhoor, and inshallah you do your fajr. But for a prophet of God, the night of Ramadan, the last 10 nights, he removed his bedding. The last 10 nights of Ramadan, no sleeping time, no bed. The devotion in a different level. Ya ayyuhal muddathir, ya ayyuhal muzammil, addressing the prophet that in your worship, be mindful of your limitation of your body. قُمِ اللَّيْلِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You do stand for prayers, but part of it, half of it. You need to spend time. You need to rest. So Ibrahim a.s., when he said these words, he believes in it. That no matter how much Ibrahim is doing work, he look at his work and greatness of Allah. And to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His greatness is the only thing that is visible, not his work. That's why he said, I didn't do enough. I want you to think about the same word when Imam Ali did Dua Kumail. He said, ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي. I wronged myself. That, oh Allah, كَيْفَ يَتَقَلْقَلُ بَيْنَ أَطْبَاقِهَا. How can I suffer in different levels of hell. وَأَنْتَ تَعْلَمُ ضَعْفَ, and you know his weakness. Ali alayhi salam saying those words because to Ali alayhi salam, regardless how much he struggled, how much he did jihad, how much he sacrificed, to Allah, his work, comparison, Ali said, I did nothing. He's the one who brought me to existence. So prophets of God are chosen because of this. Their worship doesn't make them arrogant. Their service, their prophethood doesn't make them full of pride. Rather, the more work they do, the more humble, the more sincere they are in their actions. So he says, I hope my Lord forgive me for my faults. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي حُكْمًا وَأَلْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ. My Lord, grant me wisdom. Hukm also means judgment, ability to rule, to differentiate between the truth and falsehood. وَأَلْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ, and unite me with the righteous. This is the dua. In the middle of his conversation, he asked Allah that Ibrahim has nothing from himself. Everything is from Allah. Everything is from him. He doesn't see independence in his action. And it brings us to verse 84 of this surah. Surah Ash-Shu'ara. وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. Part of the dua of Ibrahim is that, oh Allah, grant me a worthy reputation among the future generation. Ya Allah, help me to be known in the future among my children and future people and generations that will come. Lisana sidqin, of someone that they will speak good of me. When they remember me as someone who did good. This is the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfilled and granted this dua. Right? Because right now, as Muslims who lived thousands of years since the time of Ibrahim, we are speaking about Ibrahim alayhi salam right now. You go to Hajj and you speak of Ibrahim in Hajj. We say salawat and we remember Ibrahim in our salawat. Recite a salawat. This is the way Allah answered the dua of Ibrahim. That, Ya Allah, help me to be known and recognized with honor, with an honorable reputation in the future. Akhirin means those who comes later. This is critical for us. What's the relevance of that? There's something about us that we want to live longer. We want our name to survive. We want our accomplishment not to die with us. We want to remain and leave a legacy. Right? If you ask anybody, they want something to be known for. And this is what Ibrahim a.s. is asking here. For something that he should be recognized in the future. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. Ibrahim a.s. is asking this from Allah, not when he is at the brink of death, God forbid. Not that when he's dying. He is a young man. He's a young man and asking, Ya Allah, help me that once I leave this life behind, people speak of me with piety and righteousness and good, and they will remember me with an honorable reputation. This is something to think of. There's this confusion that people say we should live our own lives not for people. We should live for ourselves. And that's true. Sometimes people's opinion is going to distract us from the right path and from doing the right thing. They will judge us if we even do the right thing. But that doesn't mean that people are not important. To leave a good name and a good legacy is part of the principles of Ibrahim alayhi salam, as well as the teachings of the Quran, teachings of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. I give you one example about what Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam has to say about what kind of life we should lead our lives basically with. This is from Nahjul Balagha, Hikmah number 10. There are short saying of Imam Ali, usually at the end of Nahjul Balagha. This is number 10. Imam said, خَالِطُ النَّاسِ مُخَالَطَةً إِن مِتُّم مَعَهَا بَكَوْا عَلَيْكُمْ وَإِنْ عِشْتُمْ حَنُّوا إِلَيْكُمْ. Imam says, deal with people, mix with people, deal with people in a way, in such manner that if you die, they should weep for you. You don't want to die and people said, good. I wish it was earlier. Why it took him so long? Rather, someone that if you are not going to be present, people will weep for you. That's kind of an impact you had on people around you. And if you live, they should long for you. They should want to be with you. It doesn't mean to be a people pleaser. Don't take that, because people think, okay, I should make people happy. I should please them, then they will cry when I die. If I make them happy, if I do everything for them, if I do whatever they want, when I die, they're going to be sad, and if I'm there, they want to be with me because they're going to take advantage of me. This is looking at a problem from our mindset, from our lens. People don't like those who are people pleasers because they look at you as a tool. If not you, someone else. If you're someone who pay for the bill and among your friends you're the rich one, you're the one who pay for everything, they like you. But the moment you're not there, they're going to find an alternative. They pay for themselves or somebody else's does. They move on. You were a tool and now you're absent, they find another tool. When was the last time you cried for missing a tool in your garage, right? For a wrench, for a screwdriver? I know some men, some handymen said maybe I did, but in general, we don't. We move on, we find a replacement. People don't respect people pleasers. Those who have no backbone, no principle, no values. I refer to them as, God forbid, God protect us and save us from being one of them, party of wind. That we change direction one day this way, one day that way. We're all over the place. People don't respect that. You want an example of that? Look at the UFC fighter. Again, I don't want to promote different fighters and all that. The guy, again, has many haters, but even haters respect him because the guy has his values. There are many interviews, oh, this guy? Yeah, I don't believe in what he believes. I don't like what he says. But ultimately, there's respect. So what Imam Ali said, live a life that when you are with them, they want to be with you. When you leave, and when you, God forbid, if you die, they weep for you. Means if you're someone that you are influential, you're helpful, you're effective. You're not someone that your presence and absence is the same. They look at you and they appreciate your strength, they appreciate your wisdom. And at the same time, they know that you're not a selfish person. You have principles, but it doesn't make you selfish. You're strong, but doesn't make you violent. Why Prophet said about Ali alayhi salam, that's why it brings me to the love of Ali. When Prophet said, Ya Ali, la yubghiduka illa munafiq. No one will dislike you, no one will hate you, O Ali, unless they are a hypocrite. وَلَا يُحِبُّكَ إِلَّا مُؤْمِن. No one will love you except a believer. Because when you look at somebody, look at Ali alayhi salam, look at his actions. Why am I in love with Ali? What are the actions of Ali? His justice, his unwavering stand for the sake of Islam and defending Prophet, his unquestionable obedience to his Creator and the Messenger of God. So if you don't like him, there's not the problem in the person of Ali. It's not in the character of Ali. It's on the principle that he stood for. So Imam said, this is the life you should live. And this is something we should figure out. How to be someone that people want to be our acquaintances. They want to accompany us, they want to sit with us. Not every single person. Of course, hypocrites will not like to sit with you. Of course, those who are considering you an enemy, they're not going to be happy. But I'm talking about in general. People want to be with you. Your family want to be with you. And they will weep in your absence. So Ibrahim a.s. is asking for a future, that in the future people will remember him with goodness and qualities of khair. Then Ibrahim a.s. continues his message. Continue with his journey. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a reputation that will last long even after he is gone. And this should be, as I said, a practical lesson. It's good to look for a legacy. It's good to look for a future, to plan for it. From a young age, because once you're young, if you want to leave a good reputation, then you care about your decisions, about your actions. You care about your dignity. You care about what you post on the social media, what kind of image you portray of yourself out there. Because you want honor. You don't want to be remembered, somebody look at YouTube or somewhere and say, oh, this is what you've been? After long that you're gone. It's something that you can stand by and be proud of. We want that somebody, when we participate in Salatul Mayyit, we said, Allahumma la na'alamu minhu illa khayra. Ya Allah, I know nothing of this person who passed away except khair. Wa anta a'lamu bihi minna. And you know more about him than me. Imagine if somebody says those words and I said, I know. Yeah, I know Salatul Mayyit and prayer of the Mayyit. Said, we don't know, but I know. He or she was not a good person. That's the worst thing we can do. To leave that kind of reputation. Then Ibrahim a.s., once he finished this conversation, we have that he moves from the city of Ur, which we said is in modern Iraq. It's been said that he moves from this city to another place called Babylon. It's the capital of another powerful empires, part of the Mesopotamia at the time. And in Babylon, he notices that people of Babylon are also worshipping someone beside Allah. They're worshipping idols, and they're also worshipping celestial beings. They worship moon and sun. They look at the idols as someone that can take them closer to the God, the God of sun or moon or other objects that they're worshipping. So we go to Surah An'am. Ibrahim, from the cave to the city of Ur, to talking to his uncle, to his people, now he comes to Babylon. And in Babylon, you start engaging in this conversation with them. وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ مَلَكُوتَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلِيَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُوقِنِينَ. This is from Surah Al-An'am, verse 75 onward, as this part of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam continues. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajjil.
Allah said, and then we showed Ibrahim realm of the heavens and the earth, that he would be among of those who are certain and have conviction in their faith. فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ رَأَى كَوْكَبًا. So as I said, there are people in Babylon that there are some worshipping Kawkab. Kawkab is referring to an illuminating object in the sky. It could be a star or it could be a planet. In some narration it had been mentioned that they were worshipping Venus, which is again could be at the night visible, a planet, or it could be a star. Either way, Kawkab is something that is illuminating, shining at night. So we have that. So when he confronted these people, he used this reason or logic with them, how to educate them, how to warn them about the mistake and the fallacy that they are following through. Allah says, so when the night covered him with darkness, the night came. So he is talking to the people who are worshipping these, let's call it to them for the sake of summary of the speech, stars. He saw a star. Ra'a kawkaba. Ibrahim saw a star. Qala hadha rabbi. So Ibrahim said to the people who are worshipping this is star or these stars, said, this is my Lord. This star is going to be my God. فَلَمَّا أَفَلَ قَالَ لَا أُحِبُّ الْآفِلِينَ. But when this star set or disappeared, Ibrahim said, I do not like those that disappear. So this cannot be my God. There is a very detailed conversation about how Ibrahim alayhi salam said that I believe in a star. Isn't he a prophet of God? Isn't he a monotheist? Obviously we know that he was a monotheist. He just had a conversation with his uncle. This is later on. But why he said what he said? There one explanation that I think I'm going to stick with is that the way we look at this conversation, that Ibrahim alayhi salam said, okay, you're worshipping this star as a God. Let's say that this is my God as well. This is my God as well. So I'm going to reason with you from your standpoint. Not that Ibrahim, God forbid, suddenly abandoned his faith in Allah. Rather, for the sake of argument, he's saying that, yeah, from your standpoint, this is a God. Okay, Hadha Rabbi, this is my Lord. But the moment that star disappeared and set, he said, I cannot believe this is my God. My God doesn't disappear. I do not like those objects or things that disappear. He continues. Then he said that he comes to those who are worshipping the moon. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When he comes to them and said they are worshipping the moon, he said, okay, now Ra'a al-qamara bazigha. He saw that the moon, imagine if this is the moon in the middle of the month, is the full moon, is very bright, is much bigger than a star, is much more luminous. He said, okay, this is Hadha Rabbi. This is my Lord. Falamma afala, again, the same thing happens. The logic continues. فلما رأى القمر بازغا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لئن لم يهدني ربي لأكونن من القوم الضالين. How we know that Ibrahim is not abandoning his faith, is not that God forbid he suddenly become a moon worshipper, is the statement he makes after the moon set. After moon disappears, he says, unless my Lord guides me, I will surely be among the people who gone astray or misguided. I will be lost. So again, reason with them that I cannot believe that a moon can be my God, because again it disappears, it's set, it's not consistent. Continues to the day, فَلَمَّا رَأَى الشَّمْسَ بَازِغَةً قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. The daylight comes, the sun comes, and when he saw the sun rising, he said, "This is my Lord." So he's kind of challenging on multiple front people who worship stars, moon, or any celestial beings as a God or as a Lord. So he said, "This is my Lord, the sun. This is greater. In comparison with the size of the moon and the stars, this is much more brighter and bigger." فَلَمَّا أَفَلَتْ قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا تُشْرِكُونَ. But again, when the sunset happened, when the sun set, he said, "O people, my people, indeed I am free from what you associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And then even further than that, he explained who is the Lord that he believed in. إِنِّي وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ حَنِيفًا. Indeed, I have turned my face toward He who created the heavens and the earth. وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Inclining toward the truth, and I am not one of those who associate partners or others with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a very famous ayah, by the way, is recommended people recite it before the salat as well. وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ is also recommended to be recited before the beginning of salah. So, Ibrahim alayhi salam is facing different level of confusion in the worship. When you look at many societies, majority of them, if you look at the history of man, if you look at South America, North America, Asia, Africa, all these areas, if you go thousands of years, we see there are always traces of religion or worship. They worship something. It's very rare that we find societies or communities that they had no God or no worship. But the issue was that what they worship or who they worship. Some would worship the nature, some would worship animals, some would worship idols that they make. They find something. So the need of worship was there, but the need was placed in the wrong place, in the wrong focus, in the wrong object. And Ibrahim alayhi salam made his argument against them. But what is the commonality of all these three form of worship? If it's the star, if it's the moon, if it's the sun, which is, of course, you can argue is also a star. But the point is, he refuted and make an argument against all of them. What is the basis of his argument about all three of them? That why they cannot be gods? They're all afilin. They are not consistent. They're not permanent. They are temporary. And his argument is that the Lord and the God that you believe in must be permanent. Your Lord cannot be something that takes a break. That's why Ayatul Kursi, we recite, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum, la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that there is no God but Him. He is the all-living, all self-sufficient, self-standing. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Age, time doesn't affect Him, doesn't influence Him. Wa la nawm, neither sleep. He doesn't need breaks. He doesn't need what we need. So if there's no break necessary, there's no sleep necessary, there's no rest necessary, that Lord has to be permanent, consistent, all present, all the time. And that should be a reminder to us as well. That what we look for in life, it should be something that is permanent, not temporary. Once again, Quran says people who are looking after dunya, they're not looking for something permanent. Look at the word of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and inshallah we've concluded with this. Imam alayhi salam says, المرء إذا هلك قال الناس ما ترك. When a man dies, when somebody leaves this dunya, people usually, the chat and the conversation they have is what this person left behind. What's the inheritance? How many houses? How much money in the bank? He died and he left nothing for his family. That's the topic of conversation from people. وَقَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَ مَا قَدَّمْ. And the angel's question is, what did he send ahead? What did he send forward before he died? لِلَّهِ آبَاؤُكُمْ فَقَدَّمُوا بَعْضًا يَكُنْ لَكُمْ قَرْضًا وَلَا تُخْلِفُوا. May Allah bless your fathers. Imam Ali prayed for those who are listening. Send part of your wealth ahead of time, forward before it's too late. Donate, give before it's too late. Focus on the permanent that is coming, because we believe that وَالْآخِرَةُ وَخَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. The akhirat is abqa, is the permanent one, is the long-lasting one. The dunya is not supposed to last forever. And our Prophet says, مالي والدنيا إنما مثلي ومثل الدنيا كمثل راكب مر للقيلولة في ظل شجرة في يوم صيف ثم راح وتركها. Prophet says, what do I have to do with this dunya? What's my business with this life? It had been mentioned in Bahar Anwar that one of the companions saw Prophet resting in one day, and he's leaning on the floor and said, "Oh Prophet, wouldn't a cushion help you? Wouldn't it be better for you to have something?" And this is the response of Prophet to him. He said, Mali what dunya? What do I need? What's my business with this life? And the analogy he uses, the parable he uses, that the parable is, the story of me and this life is like a passenger or traveler in a hot summer day. For resting a short time, he or she wants to lie under a shade of a tree. You're traveling, you're having a destination. On your way, it's a summer day, it's hot. And in California, we get this very well, right? About the sunny day, and sometimes you just need 5 minutes break. You go under the shade of a tree to rest. Qaylula means a short nap, to rest. And that's it. And quickly you move on. Why? Because that shade is not going to last forever. It's just a couple of hours, right? As time passes, eventually the shade is gone. The shade is shifting. It's kind of, even if you're standing in the same place, the shift of the shadow is going to make you move. This is the nature of this dunya. You want to rest, something happens. It's shifting. This dunya is escaping you. When you're young, again, as I said, when we talk to teenagers, they want to grow up fast. When you grow up, you want to get married. Once you get married, you want to have kids. Once you have kids, you want them to get married. When they get married, there is no resting. It's just escape. It's as if it's going. And at the moment you want to just sit and enjoy it, you see the knock at the door. Israel said, again, of course, it's not going to knock for us, but it's a hyperbole. So, meaning that it's too late. This is what life is. It's not meant to be for resting. So what we have to invest in is something permanent. Anything that is temporary, do not waste your time too much with it. How much hours we spend when it comes to rejuvenating our youth. As I said, how much product are being sold to keep yourself young. Put this, and this is my face regimen, and this is this, and this vitamin, and good. Again, I'm not against it. They're good things. But how much time? No matter what we do, ultimately, what are we running away is going to catch up with us. We live in a time that everybody wants to be famous. I want to be famous. Right? I want people look at me and point fingers at me. Oh, I know him, I know her. And I ask you right now, who was famous in 1990s? Tell me. If I ask people who were born post-2000, none of you probably recall any famous actor from 1990s. If they passed away, for sure you don't know. What was the viral video in 2011 on YouTube? Bismillah. Viral video in 2011. And use ChatGPT and all that. Nobody cares. Why? That's what fame is, especially right now more than ever. Your fame is short-living. You're relevant today, 2 years, 1 year, 1 month, I don't know. Especially right now, we have TikTok famous, right? You're famous for a few hours and done. So the fame is not going to last forever. Same as with wealth, same as with everything. These are short-living, temporary gifts. Is it evil to be famous? No. Is it bad to have beauty or health or youth? No. But what are we sacrificing to get it? That's the question. I'm going to make a fool out of myself in order to become famous. You can? Yes, you can. But is it worth it? That's a different question. And the story of Ibrahim has so much to teach us. That's why I know it take longer. I wanted to finish this topic before the 15th of Ramadan. But during the weekdays, we don't have a lot of time. During the weekdays, I keep the speech very short and 20, 30 minutes, and it take longer than what I expected. But I believe there's so much benefit in the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. For our time, more than ever, that the idols of our time are not made out of wood, they're not made out of clay or some other material. Our idols are made out of temporary dreams. Fame, popularity, recognition, validation, and God knows what other many gods we have. That between this is what God says and this is what I like and this is what is popular, this is what is acceptable, which one I'm going to follow? And Allah said, you're free, by the way. I'm not here to judge people. Allah is the ultimate ahkam al-hakimin. He is the one. But the point is, the promise of Allah is that sooner or later you come to that conclusion that you wasted your life chasing something that was just a mirage. It wasn't real. You thought that if you become popular, people will love you. That if you're famous, people will appreciate you. That was a mirage and a fantasy. So before it's too late, shift our goals to more permanent goals, to more long-lasting goals. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam, وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. Ya Allah, help us that future generations remember us with goodness, with khair. That we leave a legacy of khair, a legacy that we can be proud of and continue that sadaqah jariyah, that continuous charity, that even after we're long gone, people will benefit from our legacy and they can take advantage of what we left behind. For the honor of our beloved Prophet and for the commander of the faithful, Ali ibn Abi Talib, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Inshallah, tomorrow night we will be celebrating the wiladat of our second Imam, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, because tomorrow is 14th and this will be the night of the 15th. 15th of Ramadan is birth anniversary of the second Imam, one of the masters of the youth of paradise, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. Inshallah, I look forward to see you and we celebrate tomorrow night. We will have, inshallah, a short game and we will have prizes in this, celebrating this great occasion, inshallah. Look forward to see you. Remember, for the remainder of Ramadan, every night at 6:30 now that Azan is later, we start at 6:30 p.m. with Quran recitation. And then we have iftar and the rest of the program. On weekdays, we try to, inshallah, finish earlier so people with kids and with work that they can, inshallah, leave earlier and get to their homes and houses earlier, inshallah. Let's conclude with the ziyarah. وَعَجِّلِ اللَّهُمَّ فِي فَرَجِ مَوْلَانَا صَاحِبَ الْعَصْرِ وَالزَّمَانِ. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم أيها الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام على موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام على علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام على محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام على علي بن محمد الهادي النقي. السلام على حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان، يا خليفة الرحمن، يا إمام الإنس والجان، يا أبا صالح المهدي، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين.